This is the Roundhouse Report. Just got a sponsorship from Burt's Bees. For Bitcoin. Alright. It's cold. I was abruptly and rudely cut off by YouTube in my last video, so this is part 2 regarding the freaking Chinese and the Korean War and the Zulus in Africa against the British. Okay? The Roundhouse Report, please subscribe. Part 2. I bet nobody's watching this because the last video went 30 minutes. I hope it was entertaining, though, at least. So, we left off the Chosin Reservoir battle. If you Google that, if you watched the last video, I don't have to explain that at all. I can just continue from there. The bodies were like this. When they were shot, they would freeze in whatever position they were in because it was so cold. Negative 18 degrees with wind. It's insane. A lot of our casualties and a lot of their casualties were simply from the cold. Now, their eyes, when they were... It got so bad that we had to use their bodies as sandbags. I don't know if anybody knows this, because it is, after all, the Forgotten War, right? Hang on a second. I'm back. And my back, my rear end, comfortable. My office. I'm not supposed to smoke in this office. They're gonna be pissed. But, whatever. Then put my flags up, so. Anyhow, it was so cold. The conditions were so rough and bare. 5,000 Marines retreating against a enemy force of 100,000 plus Chinese troops. And all the fighting was done at night. During the day, we were able to see, because again, remember the context. Nowadays, we have smart bombs and radar and all that crap, sophistication, high-tech stuff. Back then, we didn't. Okay, the Korean War, we barely had helicopters. Have you ever seen the show MASH? We barely even had helicopters, let alone night vision capabilities and guidable cruise missiles. So we were dropping, but this was the first major introduction of napalm in a conventional warfare. It began with the Molotov cocktail, and then from there it transformed into what we now know as napalm. And it was used widely in World War II, but it wasn't called napalm. Like, you just fire torches out of tanks. So in the Korean War, we're dropping napalm on all these ridge lines. Because we were taking fire during the day, we had to keep moving. We couldn't sleep. I'm sorry, this battle did not last for a month. This battle lasted for a week and a half. I was wrong before, sorry. So for a week and a half, these guys, these 5,000 Marines, they can't sleep. They're fighting during the night, and during the day, they're fucking escaping with their lives. And they're remember, Marines never leave anyone behind. So every single dead and wounded is taken care of and put on supply vehicles, which on those roads that were iced, North Korean, I don't even know if I can call them roads, paths with 18 degrees snowpacks, bodies, burned out vehicles. I mean, it was insanity. Again, if they made a movie, it'd be beautiful. Recently made a movie, The Horse or something, about World War I, but the horse means heroin. So don't think they were on point with that, although it does make sense. Give me 1 second. I apologize for that. I'm trying to get these dudes money, cash. Anyhow, we would take fire all day long as we ran. Now, it was an organized, tactical, organized retreat. All right, it was not a rout. We had rear guard actions as best as we could, but again, it was chaotic, and people were dying and just being wounded by the frostbite. Their flesh was being ripped off. They weren't equipped properly, and you can't be equipped properly. Nowadays you can with the technology. Even then, it messes your head up. And these guys couldn't sleep. So the Chinese were nonstop, 150,000 or 100,000 plus. Their own records, again, at the end of the battle, their own records that were captured from their outposts their own Chinese generals estimated 60,000 Chinese dead. So if they're saying 60,000, you know it's legit. We had 2,000 dead and 1,000 casualties, wounded. And a lot of the dead were from just the cold. But there's a lot of, it was all hand-to-hand, barbaric, ancient, World War One-esque style fighting at nighttime. A lot of grenades, a lot of flash flares, you know, like in a mortar tube. Throw up a flare into the sky, so you illuminate everything. Like in World War One, pitch black. You illuminate everything. It's freaking white light. Yeah, you also get white phosphorus from those. That's messed up. That puts a piece of, if you throw a white phosphorus grenade, it puts a piece of metal into your cheek. Let's say it hits your cheek and it slides in there. You have to take a knife and you have to cut up into your face and pry it out, because it won't stop burning until it's gone all the way through your bone. Watch Platoon. Tom Berenger's character has to cut someone's cheek. But anyhow, where was I? We had to use their bodies as sandbags, literally. And again, the paralysis from the cold, a lot of times when these Marines, during the day and then in the evening when they were moving the bodies, they had to look at their eyes. And a lot of times, because all their eyes are open, no one's sitting there closing eyes. So their eyes are open, and they would have to look for this. Just sheer terror. And then they would know, all right, this dude's not dead. He's just frozen. Or he's like, has a flesh wound in his arm. He's not dying, but he's frozen. So in that sense, he's dying. And he's terrified. Imagine panic. You're paralyzed and freezing cold, and you're facing freaking American soldiers, Marines, freaking beard stubble growing out, been fighting for a week, no sleep, not eating. The terror, man. So, though, they killed him and they used him as sandbags because they had to. They had no choice. This is a primal, visceral, instinctual thing that humanity does. We're good at war. And there's a reason for that. But, we use them as sandbags. Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, he references it actually. They would stack them up and they would, use them as, like parapets to fire. The fighting was brutal. A lot of hand grenades were used. A lot of concussions. By concussions, I mean concussive blasts that hit your organs, that they implode. And that's what kills you. The fire doesn't kill you. The concussion kills you. We retreated to a port, finally, in northeast North Korea. I forget what the port's called, but we blew it up, and we got our guys out. Dead, wounded, alive. Everyone out. We had to destroy all of our equipment, though, like our heavy crap, like our artillery, trucks. We had to destroy all that. Half of it was already destroyed. When they had to start up their vehicles, they had to urinate on the engines in order to get them to start because it was so cold. I mean, just imagine these freaking conditions. Oh my goodness, their hands would be so chapped. My hands would be devastated. You know what this girl said once when she was holding my hand? She said I had soft, doughy hands. I was like, look, I'm not a freaking construction worker. I'm an intellectual. No, for real though, that was a wake-up call at me. So now I do hand exercises, and I intentionally expose them to the cold in order to build them up, make them man hands, construction style. But anyhow, the Chinese were beaten soundly on a tactical level, in the sense that on the micro level, they were beaten. 60,000 dead versus 2,000 dead. They were soundly beaten. Strategically, though, they got us out. We left. They were like, all right, good, you're out. And then they retreated, and then the remnants of the North Korean army, which would have turned into an insurgency probably, they reformed, regrouped. The Chinese helped them. The Russians, Mig Alley on the Yalu River, Mig Alley, the latest and greatest in jet fighting and dog fighting on Mig Alley. If you want to look that up, MIG Alley, like alleyway. And again, the Yalu River is where Mao Zedong said, don't keep going north toward this river. It's spelled Y-A-L-U. So we got out of there, and it's one of the memorable feats of the Marine Corps to this day. Iwo Jima, the Battle of Hue in Vietnam, the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir, and the Battle of Fallujah in 2004 in Iraq. It's a shame there. It's a tragedy. But Fallujah 04. But I wasn't there. I knew someone who was there. That was bad. But it's commemorated by them in a very like solemn, almost sacred type of way. You know, the brotherhood of the Marine Corps and all that stuff. Yeah. So that concludes this chapter. I'm going to be coming up with, I'm going to review a line of historical war fiction soon. And I'm also going to be comparing the ancient Greek frontal fighting styles and the Zulu frontal styles from my previous video also. The Zulu fighters against the British. Because YouTube abruptly cut me off again. I'm still irritated. No, I understand. I just took some Prilosec, so I'm good. So I was cut off, but this time I think I may have made it. So please subscribe. Please bring your friends, and maybe I'd be entertaining if you casted me to your TV, watching me rambling with freaking pockmarks on my face like the Battle of freaking Verdun. 2 million shells fired in 2 weeks. Come on now. They flooded all the fields. A lot of people drowned in World War I in the Battle of Verdun. But that's what my pockmarked face looks like. Except they do have a couple legit scars up in the facial region. Hands. Alright. Roundhouse Report out.